Many, many years ago, in a large industrial city in Yorkshire, lived a little chimney sweep whose name was Tom. He worked for a very cruel man called Mr. Grimes, who more often than not would vent his anger on the poor little lad. Tom had a very unhappy life, but would always try to make the best of everything.
Tom, the chimney sweep. I work when others are asleep. When I've been up to clean those flues, you wouldn't know me from your old black shoes. I'm Tom, the chimney sweep, and some of those chimneys make you creep. And when I come down on the hearth, you know that I've never been near a bath. I work for a horrid man called Grimes, who's been in jail for a number of crimes. And when he sees me covered in soot, he gives me a kick with his great big foot. I'm Tom, the chimney sweep. I have to work hard for my keep, but I manage to have a few good times with a to Mr. Grimes. With a to Mr. Grimes.
One morning, Tom and Mr. Grimes got up very early. Grimes had orders to go to Sir John Hartover's house in the country to sweep the chimneys. Away from the town they went, Grimes riding on a donkey and poor Tom walking behind, carrying rods, brushes, and a great big bag to put all the soot in. They hadn't got very far when they saw a lonely Irishwoman trudging along, carrying a large bundle on her back.
This is a hard road for a gradely foot like that. Will you come up, lass, and ride behind me?
No, thank you. I'll sooner walk with your little lad here.
As you will.
Grimes rode on, smoking his pipe. Soon they came to a little stream which trickled down the rocks. Grimes got off the donkey and started to splash his face in the water.
Why, master, I never saw you do that before.
No, will again, most likely. It wasn't for cleanliness I did it, though, but for coolness.
My dog go and dip my head in.
Don't be daft, lad. What does thou want with washing thyself?
I don't care for you.
That doesn't care for me, doesn't thou? I'll teach thee to care for me.
Let go my ear.
I'll show thee who's thy master.
Stop! Are you not ashamed of yourself, Thomas Grimes?
The Irishwoman disappeared through a gate and Grimes remounted the donkey. When they arrived at the house, Grimes gave Tom a kick and sent him up the first chimney. How many chimneys Tom swept, I cannot say, but he swept so many that he got quite tired, and puzzled too, for they were large and crooked. As he came down, he came to a fork and wondered to himself which way to go. All of a sudden, he lost his foothold and slipped down the left one, landing with a bump in the fireplace. He found he was in a large room, and in a corner of it was a small bed, and in the bed was a little girl fast asleep. She was very beautiful. Tom walked over to her slowly and gently so as not to wake her. He stared down at her in amazement. Her cheeks were as white as the pillow her little head rested on, and her hair was golden. It lay sprawled all over the pillow and looked like threads of gold. As Tom stepped back in astonishment, he upset the fender and the firearms. He was terrified and climbed through the open window, down a drain pipe, and ran off as fast as his legs would carry him through the park toward a wood. Through the wood he ran and out onto the great grouse moors, which the country folk call Hartover Fell. On and on he went till he came to a deep green and rocky valley. Utterly exhausted, he arrived at a pretty little cottage beside a stream. And there sat a dear old woman teaching the village schoolchildren their ABC. She sang an old, sad song which the children could not understand, but they liked it nonetheless for that.
When all the world is young, lad, and all the trees are green, and every pool's a swan, lad, and every lass a queen, then hey for boot and horse, lad, and round the world away. Young blood must have its course, lad, and every dog his day. When all the world is old, lad, and all the trees are brown, and all the sport is stale, lad, and all the wheels are run down, creep home and take
just the once. Away with it. I'll have no sweeps here.
Water,
He's sick, poor thing. And a bairn, sweep a none.
water.
God forgive me. Water's bad for thee.
She gave Tom some milk and left him in an outhouse upon soft, sweet hay and an old rug. But Tom did not fall asleep. He tossed and kicked and felt so hot all over that he longed to get into the river.
I will be a fish. I will swim in the water. I must be clean. I must be clean.
So Tom tumbled as quick as he could into the clear, cold stream, full of water fairies, only he couldn't see them. And this was the song they were singing, only he couldn't hear it. When he woke, Tom found himself swimming about in the stream. He was about 4 inches long, with gills like a fish. The fairies had turned him into a water baby. Tom had many adventures in the river where he was very happy, and all the time, although he didn't know it, he was watched over by the fairies. At last he was clean, and he had forgotten all his troubles. He teased the trout, made friends with the dragonfly, quarreled with an otter, and chatted with a well-bred old salmon.
I wish I were a fish, and a very handsome fish I'd know I'd be. I'd swish and swish, oh wouldn't it be delish if every water weed became a tree. And from the deep I'd watch the salmon leap and follow them down the river to be free. I wish and wish, but if I don't get my wish, there are plenty of other fishes in the sea. There are plenty of other fishes in the sea. I wish I were a fish, and a very handsome fish that I would be. I'd tickle trout if there were any trout about, but I wouldn't let anybody tickle me. They'd wait and wait, but they never go near their bait, and end up on a plate for someone's tea. I'll wish and wish, but if I don't get my wish, there are plenty of other fishes in the sea. There are plenty of other fishes in the sea.
But one day there came a great thunderstorm, and all the inhabitants of the river seemed to be in great excitement. Tom decided that he must go down to the sea. On his way, he had a very strange adventure. He saw a bright red flame advancing along the riverside. Just below the light lay 5 or 6 salmon looking up at the flame. Suddenly, he heard a human voice.
Tuck that muckle fellow, lad. He's over 15 pounds. And keep your hands steady.
Down came a pole through the water, and one of the salmon was speared. But at this moment, 3 keepers appeared and rushed on the poachers. A fierce fight took place, and with a hiss and splash, the man who held the flame fell into the water.
Perhaps the water has made him fall asleep as it did me. Why, it's Mr. Grimes. Oh, dear me. Now he will turn into a water baby, and perhaps he will find me out and beat me again. Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
He swam away quickly, but Grimes did not become a water baby. Tom swam on until he reached the sea. Now, you remember the little girl that Tom saw at Sir John Hartover's house? She was called Ellie, and she'd gone to the seaside with an old friend, Professor Pithmilspatz. He was showing her all the curious animals that lived in the rocks.
I don't care about all these things, Professor, because they can't play with me or talk to me. If there were little children in the water as there used to be.
Children in the water, Ellie?
Yes.
Quite impossible.
But why are there no water babies?
Now, don't be silly, child.
At that moment, the professor groped with his net under the weeds and caught poor little Tom.
Dear me. Why, it must be a cephalopod.
No, I'm not. It's a water baby.
What fiddlesticks, my dear.
The professor prodded Tom, who bit his finger till it bled. The professor yelled with pain and dropped Tom back into the water.
Oh!
Tom swam out to sea until he came to St. Brandon's Fairy Island, where he found thousands of other water babies. He was very happy to have someone to play with. Often he got up to mischief, teasing the crabs and putting stones in anemones' mouths. He was punished by the ugly fairy, Mrs. Bedumby-As-You-Did, and because he was sorry and promised not to be cruel to the little creatures again, he was kissed and cuddled by the most beautiful fairy, Mrs. Do-As-You-Would-Be-Done-By.
Don't go away, Mrs. Do-As-You-Would-Be-Done-By. I've never had anyone to cuddle me before.
Don't go away.
You've not sung us a song.
Well, I've only time for one. Which shall it be?
The doll you lost.
I once had a sweet little doll, dears, the prettiest doll in the world. Her cheeks were so red and so white, dears, and her hair was so charmingly curled. But I lost my poor little doll, dears, as I played on the heath one day. And I cried for her more than a week, dears, but I never could find where she lay. Never, never, I never could find where she lay. Never, never, I never could find where she lay. I came on my poor little doll, dears, as I played on the heath one day. Folks say she is terribly changed, dears, for her paint has been all washed away. And her arm trot off by the cows, dears, and her hair not the least bit curled. Yet for all sake's sake she still is the prettiest doll in the world. Pretty, the prettiest doll in the world. Pretty, the prettiest doll in the world.
Mrs. Bedumby-As-You-Did told Tom that he must go and find Mr. Grimes at the other end of nowhere. The seagulls helped him to find the shiny wall and its great white gate, which had never been opened. He dived down to the bottom of the sea and swam for 7 days and 7 nights. He came up in Peace Pool, and Mother Carey's haven, where the good whales go when they die. And Mother Carey sent him on his way to the other end of nowhere. There he found a huge building guarded by policemen's truncheons. He showed them Mother Carey's pass, and they conducted him to the great iron door of the prison. A wicket in the door opened, and out looked a tremendous old brass blunderbuss.
What case is this?
If you please, sir, it's no case. Only a young gentleman from her ladyship. He wants to see Grimes, the master sweep.
Grimes? Yes. Grimes is up chimney number 345.
Tom found Grimes stuck in chimney number 345. Then Mrs. Bedumby-As-You-Did appeared, and strange to tell, she was the old Irish woman who had spoken to Grimes and Tom on the way to the house. When Grimes realized how wicked he had been in his life, he began to repent, and the chimney crumbled down and he was freed. Tom returned with Mrs. Bedumby-As-You-Did to St. Brandon's Island, and there he found waiting for him on a rock the most beautiful girl that ever was seen. It was Ellie, and Tom's happiness was complete.